Okay, we're just getting the teams in here. Both teams have entered the lobby, but I need them to check the settings, get in their mechs, all that stuff, so it'll be a few minutes yet. Okay, while we're waiting for the teams to ready up, let's get started. This is Therax doing the cast here on the MWO League's channel here that you're watching, or maybe you're watching a little bit later on YouTube. And we have a match today. It is Division F. It is FJRD, their second team, the Berserkers, and CDU Bandits. It's the only CDU team being fielded for this this current league. We are playing Blood League. It is a 7v7 5-cap conquest format. And there's a little bit of a rotation as to the specific weight classes that are allowed for the first 4 drops. Drop 1, you have 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, and 1 assault. And for the following drops, the weight class where you're limited to 1 moves down by 1 each time. So the second drop is going to be 2 lights, 2 mediums, 1 heavy, and 2 assaults. And the third drop is going to be 2 lights, 1 medium, 2 heavies, 2 assaults. The fourth drop, 1 light, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, and 2 assaults. And the fifth drop is actually a tonnage drop. That is it's still 7v7, and they're still limited to bringing a maximum of 2 of each weight class. So there's still going to be 1 weight class in which they only bring a single mech, but the teams are also going to be limited to 420 tons total. Not a very complicated rule set, and yeah, we're just getting into it here. Teams are moving around the lobbies, probably still switching some mechs. And I have the map strat up, so we're going to talk about it. We're starting off on Crimson Strait. The spawns and the cap locations were moved. If you were playing in ISC, you might have already noticed that Theta's way off in the boonies, or if you play a lot of quick play perhaps. Not a very popular map in quick play, but the changed spawns might make that a little bit different. Alright, so what we've got the one team spawning up behind the Epsilon cap. There's and the other team, the team 2, you know, that's the common location down by Sigma. Used to be team 1 was out near where Theta's been moved, and the caps, they're completely reorganized. In ISC, we're playing a 3-cap format, and it was control of the island or control of the upper platform or the saddle kind of seemed to be the primary way to go for ISC. I think it's going to be more or less the same even here in Blood League. Blood League, we're playing with only 1 more player, but we're playing with 2 more caps. With those 2 caps that got added are the Sigma Epsilon, and Island and the upper platform kind of both have an overwatch of those as well. So I'm not sure how much we're going to see people playing around Theta, even if they go for cap strat, which we could just see pure brawling here for all I know. So it'll be a little bit interesting to see exactly what's going to happen here. Now this is Division F. Division F, second lowest division, so you don't necessarily see as much of a range cap control strategy in the lower divisions. You generally see a little bit more brawling, and FJRD as a unit is well known for brawling. So FJRD is fielding 3 teams in this tournament. 2 of those teams have already played, so their drop deck composition can already be looked at publicly using the match ID numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and share that I did look at those match ID numbers for the one match, and I actually played in the other. And there was a lot of for what I've seen from FJRD, there's been a lot of Mistlinks and Vipers and Crusader 6Ts. Crusader 6T is a very versatile mech. It can run a number of different loadouts, but when you're combining it with Mistlinks and Vipers, which typically you see machine guns on those, and it's a type of mech that you would run with a brawl strat. And FJRD is known for brawling as a unit. They have a lot of coordination. They play faction play together, and anyone who plays faction play is going to be well aware of FJRD and their brawling. Now from CDU, again, they've been around for a while. They're playing in a bit of a lower division here, and I also expect some brawl here. So we should be seeing mechs die instead of mechs standing in circles, which is always a more pleasant experience as a viewer. Now Team 1 is locked. We're still waiting for Team 2 to lock up here. I can tell you that Team 1 has locked in at 390 tons. Okay, Team 2 is locked in, so we're going to go ahead and launch. Team 2 is locked in at 365 tons. So that is a 25-ton difference between these two teams. Okay, watching the teams come in here, we are looking at the blue team, which is Hunters of the Fjordlands. And I am seeing what we have here. That is Sunspider, Viper, Firestarter, Ember, I believe is the hero there. Yeah, 4 Ultra 2. Oh, that is Small Pulse and Micro Pulse on the Viper, so that is not a machine gun Viper. An Incubus 2, and I'm going to catch this Night Gear build out. That is going to be, oh, standard AC2, AC5. That is 4 AC5, 1 AC2. Interesting. Annihilator's LBX-10. Okay, so the Annihilator's a mid-range trade. Sunspider's mid-range to kind of long-range trade. But the Annihilator is like pure brawl. So that's going to be interesting to see how Hunters of Fjordlands make use of that. I'm going to try and grab some more builds here quick on these lights before they escape. Heavy large on the Incubus with light machine gun, and I got the Viper build. That was the laser brawl. Oh, there's 2 Vipers. Which mech did I miss on this team? Well, I guess it was the Firestarter, or my bad. Then I'm going to go take a quick look at critical damage unit. They have pushed out to take the island. They're pushing behind it. That is going to be a brawl, but there's already a strike on them, so they've been spotted. Not sure how they were spotted. We have the Javelin's going to be machine guns. Other Javelin machine guns as well. Be my money on those. Javelin 11F, have to go machine guns. Machine gun on the Viper, machine gun on the second Viper, Crusaders, Small Pulse, both of them, and an Executioner with a Mostly brawl build. There's 2 LPLs on there, but with all those small pulse and ear micros, they're not looking to trade. So this is very much a brawl push coming out of critical damage unit. The javelins have gotten in early, and the Firestar is making an escape. The front line here for Hunters of Fjordlands, FJRD, is that Sunspider. Sunspider is relatively fragile, has a high DPS. I'd be wanting to take that a little bit further back. And I believe they are, yes, they are making a bit of a pullback with it. And we have no casualties yet. The focus fire is coming out. There we go. The Sunspider is the first to go down. Self-destruction, but that was an overheat from a side torso being destroyed. So first casualty goes down in the favor of critical damage unit. Relatively low percentages across the board here with a number of different mechs, but the fight is a little bit unfocused. We have numerous 2-on-1s and 1-on-1s occurring here. Viper for FJRD just came in from Theta, joining the fight. Annihilator is 63%, but he's taking a damage here. He is 55%. Annihilator is a very tanky mech, eventually does go down. Percentages are still reasonably healthy for Hunters of the Fjordlands, but they are down 3 mechs at this point to just 1 mech down on the side of critical damage unit. Lots of machine gun effects here. A little bit hard to see exactly what is going on, but I see there's a Viper that just went down. Oh, the Ember just went down. I think that might have been a back shot coming in on War Daddy. Yeah, looks like he got rear shot. Just a chaotic brawl. Everyone's in front, behind, and this is going the way of critical damage unit. There is the second Viper. The Viper is lagged and down. It's just 1 Incubus now against the world, and he's trying to get some room here to kite. Relatively fresh still in that Incubus, but he is lagged now, and that will be it. Clean victory for critical damage unit here with their hard brawl push. Just have to get the caps here. We have a very wounded Executioner at the end. A lot of heat damage there on Master Pig. But in the end, he's still standing, and his team is picking up the win here. Just have to wait for the caps. Will not take long.
They have resource point Gamma.
Brenta in the Javelin, 66%, but he's still got both legs and looks like all of his weaponry. It's so hard to get the readout information on these mechs.
The enemy has capped enough resources. We've failed.
Well, very fast, intense brawl there. Going to try to pull up the lobby stat numbers here. And it looks like it's working today, so that is a very nice treat for us here. We can look at the damage numbers on FJRD. Looks like the top damage for them by a wide margin was the Incubus from Dan Prex with 450 damage dealt. There's 22 team damage as well, so he might have used a strike to get that damage, but he could have just been standing on the outside of the fight, firing into it as well with those heavy lasers and machine guns, light machine guns I believe it was. Rest of the team, lower damage numbers. Sunspider kind of up at the front there, dealing less than 100 damage. War Daddy and his Firestarter got rear shot in the middle of that brawl. And just relatively lower damage numbers overall. The brawl managed to get in there without taking a lot of damage. There was a strike thrown, so I think it was spotted, but not everyone was necessarily in position to react, and that might have been because some of the mechs were off trying to cap at Theta, which is quite some distance from where the rest of the spawns and caps are. Coming out of CDU, we've got a top damage here from Ravi in his Crusader 6T, 551 damage, 45 teen damage as well. So either a strike or maybe a little bit of friendly fire coming out there. Also picked up a pair of kills. That's very nicely done there. And that was a small pulse laser right in the midst of the fight, I imagine. And just overall, you're looking at CDU, we've got a couple other 500s, some 400s coming out of Brenta and his Javelin, Master Pig in the Executioner with 500, Black Tack in another Javelin with 500. I mean, both Javelins, very high damage numbers there. And lowest damage on their team is coming out with a 207. So that just tells a story there. I don't think it was even focus fire. It's just which mechs were built for the brawl and had the angles and which mechs did not. Now I have to remember, what is the second map? Oh, we're going to Free Worlds Coliseum, are we not? Yes, we are. Which is a brand new map. And there's some issues with Free Worlds Coliseum. There's some multiple stuck spots and yeah, just in general, a little bit of some issues that need to be ironed out. I'm very excited for a new map though, so I'm not complaining. It's a lot of purple though, which for me it's not really an issue, but for some people I've heard that they're having some difficulties with how purple it is. And just a reminder, we're doing it's a weight class tournament here for the first 4 drops. On this drop, we're going to have 2 lights, 2 mediums, 1 heavy, and 2 assaults. So the has become a slightly heavier drop here. So it'll be interesting to see if teams are going to try and play a range strat on here, if we're going to see another brawl push. Just to pull up the map quick here, Theta's in the middle. I've heard that it favors one team over the other, but I actually honestly do not remember which team it was favoring. But there was some sort of issue with one team who was able to see Theta and the other team was not. The other caps are relatively declared as to who is going to be getting them. But what I'm going to point out here as what I believe is the defining map feature. Let's use a color other than purple to highlight it. Maybe a green. Green should show up on purple. So what I'm seeing as the dominant feature on this map would be the Charlie 5 location. And it's a high ground shelf on the side here. But you can... The rest of the map is a significant amount lower. So you can fire down from the high position onto the various caps or push angles that teams might be trying to use. There are some trenches on this map that are rather deep. Teams can use those for cover while pushing in. But if there's a range mechs in the Charlie 5 location, they can kind of just free farm whoever's not. This isn't a bowl map. The gradual slopes of this, people were initially worried it was like the old polar highlands. It's not. The trenches are deeper. There are spires and trees that block LRMs for cover. But I believe this map is dominated by the Charlie 5 high point. So we'll see if the teams end up trying to use that or not. We have a Team 1 locked. They are at 410 tons. That is FJRD. The Hunters of the Fjordlands lock in at 410. I'm hearing my mic is quiet. I know it is. I'm sorry. I have tried to make my mic close to a balanced volume with the game. I'm hoping it's working out that way. But this microphone does appear to be rather low volume. And there are some other sound issues as well. I need to work on addressing them. I'll try to do that before my next cast, which is in less than 18 hours from now. I'm coming back with another cast. And looks like Team 2 is about to lock in. Yeah, Team 2 is locked in, 420 tons here. And we're kicking it off. Okay, both teams coming in. I'm going to be looking at critical damage unit in the red here. We have an Annihilator. They were the Brawl team from last time, so this is not that LBX-10. This is a 5 Ultra 5. Dervish Hero with a Frenzy. That is going to be 8 SRM4. A Blood Asp A.
We have Gamma.
That is a 4 ER large, and then some number of small pulse lasers. Okay. Not what I was expecting from a Blood Asp, but clan ER larges are very strong. Packet with 8 SRM6. Timberwolf with 2 LPLs, 5 ER Mead. Alright, so they got mid-range Vomit, a little bit of long-range Trade, some mid-range DACA, and then a pair of Brawler Mediums. Now, I didn't catch these lights. Arctic Cheetah, the Shard, that is a machine gun variant. Yes, 8 heavy machine guns and 1 small. And then they have a Pirate's Bane. That will be an ECM hero. Oh, my apologies there. Trying to click a build and click on the map instead. It's very hard to catch the builds on these smaller, faster mechs. I got the guy. Alright, so that is small laser heavy machine gun. So they're bringing a bit of a mix of a drop deck, some hard dedicated brawl, and some that are more mid-range or even long-range. They're facing off against a Viper. I'm going to assume this is machine guns, but last time it was not. No, that is also a small pulse and ER micro. The Night Gear, now that build changed. No, it's still the AC5, AC2 build. A pair of Executioners. Now they're taking the high ground here with that. A little bit of leg damage there. LPLs, okay. Now, it was critical damage unit that brought the Executioners last time, but now they've reversed it here, and Hunters of the Fjordlands are bringing Executioners. Builds are a little bit different, but it's still mostly Brawl, a little bit of LPL for mid-range, and this time I did get the build on this guy. It is Small Pulse Heavy Machine Gun, okay? I think I got all of the mechs. I'm not entirely convinced, though. So this is mostly a push from Hunters of the Fjordland. They are taking the high ground position here, where normally I was talking about having traders up here. With just the 2 LPLs and the 4 AC5s and 1 AC2 kind of being their range complement coming out of their assaults and heavies, I don't think they're planning to use this for their own range. I think they're just trying to deny the opponents from using it for their range. I'm expecting that we're going to see a push come in here afterwards. Now, Incubus, that's the one I missed. What does he have? A pair of heavy large. So they do have some range mechs that could play on that ridge. We have a little bit of early trades coming out, but I think they're going to want to keep pushing forward and take a brawl here. A lot of purple, and then we got some of these blue lasers on it as well. Ravi's taking some early damage as this push appears to be starting off. Annihilator's in a very solid receive position, with Timberwolf backing him up as well. The Annihilator's not going to be able to kite out of here. Now we also have this Huntsman waiting to ambush. This is going to be interesting. That might be the first time that they've seen that he exists. Scroggles with a big burst there into the fire starter. Scroggles has become the focus target now. Attempting to pull back in the Huntsman. 61%, what is open on him? He's legged, yeah, it is a leg focus. Huntsman goes down. Annihilator's pushed forward. Interesting move there. We've got some heavy damage coming out on both teams here. This Executioner is 48%. Executioner is just tanking now. I'm not even seeing any shooting coming out of it. Arctic Cheetah just putting the machine guns in. That Executioner is going to go down. And this is evening up. We have 2 kills on the side of Hunters of Fjordlands, 3 coming down against critical damage unit. Bloodass 67% Ravi. He's pushing in with that. That was ER large on that mech, but I believe, yeah, he's already halved in the Bloodasp, working with a couple small pulses and pair of ER large, being relatively ignored at the moment in favor of different targets. It's a bit of a light fight here with the Timberwolf off on the side. The Night Gear's pushed in as well, so everyone's just up and brawling. Timberwolf is completely out of the fight at the moment. This Viper looks like it's legged out of Decibel. Yeah, Viper is legged and open on the second leg, whereas the Timberwolf is cooking. Timberwolf is... Are they both powered down here? Wow, finally, mech goes down there. Timberwolf is quite heavily cooked, 37%, very little structure remaining. Ravi's attempting to deal with some pesky light harassment here from the Incubus, while also dealing with the Night Gear in his face. Night Gear's halved, no weapons remaining. Those aren't just jams, that is actually a sticked Night Gear, 25%. And it's just meat shielding for its light, trying to draw some attention. And the Incubus, Incubus is lagged. So this is not going to go, not a kiteable, winnable match here for Hunters of the Fjordlands. The last remaining mech is that Night Gear with no weaponry remaining. A lot of tanking very well, 14%, that is impressive, but ultimately this is definitely going the way of critical damage unit. And I forgot to update the scoreboard, so I will take an opportunity to do that quick. Okay, that should be the stats from the second match up there. And I believe I have the scoreboard correctly updated now to reflect that there are 2 wins for critical damage unit. Looking at damage across the board here quickly from FJRD, we have Rastrock in the Night Gear with an amazing 800 damage coming out of that mech. The Incubus out of Danprax, he has 558, or sorry, they have 558. A very nice damage total coming from a light mech. War Daddy went in a little bit early, and I don't think that he knew that there was a Huntsman with SRMs waiting just over that ridge, pulling out a little bit of a lower damage bottom of the team there. So looking quickly at CDU's damage, the Blood Asp from Ravi with 664, got some early damage when the opposing team was coming in, and then moved up to try and use those pulse lasers, I believe. Black Tack and the Locust Pirate's Banes coming out with 550 damage. Very nice from that Locust, which had just, what was it, 2 heavy machine guns and 4 small lasers. Very little firepower, but a lot of DPS if you just stick in the fight. Eventually it accumulates. Brenta with the Arctic Cheetah's got a 526. Fro 420 in the Timberwolf with a mid-range laser vomit coming out with 400. Crescent Reaper in the Annihilator with a 475, moving up to tank for the team. The 2 mediums with the SRMs have lower damage numbers, but they did end up buying a little bit of time for some of their bigger mechs to deal damage, so overall, well done. And now I have to remember the third map. The third map is Canyon Network, I believe. I played my match yesterday. I should remember this still, but, you know, not the best memory. I'll ask the teams. I could check the rulebook, but I'm just going to ask the teams. Alright, Canyon Network, very familiar for everyone. I'm not really looking to pull up a map strat on that, but we have a few minutes, so why not? I guess for all I know, you could be brand new the first time watching MWO Comp. If you've played MWO Comp, you've played on Canyon Network. It is a classic OG map. Had some changes over the years with a little bit of ramps added in various locations. Some of the rocks around Theta being cut down a lot lower than they used to be. And there's also a visual change with a little bit of a stream of water added in. So that's, you know, it's still the classic map. The spawns have been clustered a little bit tighter than they used to be, but it's more or less the same. There's a few different popular strats that can be run on it. These teams, again, well, we saw one team brawling, the other team receiving, and then they switched, and it was the opposing team brawling and the other team receiving. So, I don't know, maybe they both play a ranged trade drop on here. It could happen. I mean, Canyon Network has a number of relatively strong range positions, but it also has the ability to brawl, and lower divisions you typically see more brawl, so I'm leaning toward it being brawl, but is it one team brawling or both team brawling? I guess that's what we're waiting to see. 5 caps, you've got a home cap for each team, you've got a side cap for each team, you've got Theta right dead center in the center with a limited amount of cover. Teams can try to rush that early if they want the 3 cap, or they can try and just cover it with range and deny their opponents from getting it. But the entire time when you're off sending your mechs to far-flung caps, try and get yourself a little bit of a cap lead, you could get brawl pushed. It's not a very big map. Free Worlds Coliseum, a very large map you have time to set up. Canyon Network, you do spawn a little bit closer to some of the positions that you want to take as a ranged team, but you also have less time. Map is like half the size. Oh, wow. We have a lock from both teams. So I'm going to kick it off. Alright, I'm looking at critical damage unit in the red. We have more of these Crusaders and Executioners. Small pulse, and what is on the Executioner? We have small pulse, ER Peep. Okay, so ER Peep could do trade. I'm kind of expecting them to push though. Yeah, same for both Executioners. The Executioner is kind of that hybrid, a little bit of range trade, and then more of that close range brawl. We have snub-nosed PPCs coming out of the Vulcan, and a pair of Arctic Cheetahs. 6 small pulse on the one, and 6 small pulse on the other. So a lot of pulse lasers. That is going to run a little bit hotter than machine guns, but they do have more of a poke trade skirmish potential there. And they took an early theta cap there. There was a skirmish, but neither team wanted the fight, so they both backed out. Heavy machine gun flamer on one of the Vipers for Hunters of the Fjordlands. They're bringing that Incubus for, I believe it's a 3rd time now. I'm thinking same build. I want to confirm. Yes, light machine gun, heavy large laser. We have a Direwolf playing a range position. So this is going to be trade versus brawl. That is 8 ER large lasers. It doesn't run as hot as it sounds like it does. Clan ER large lasers are actually quite cool once you can stack enough heat sinks, and the Direwolf is able to do that. Annihilator has AC5 light PPC. That is a mid-range build. And we have a push around the corner here with a pair of Sun Spiders, Ultra 2, and a Night Gear with 4 AC5, 1 AC2 again. Unconventional build coming out of the Night Gear. More traditionally, you would see 3 UAC 5, 1 UAC 10, or you could do 6 AC2, 6 UAC 2. But Rastrok has been putting up good damage numbers with that build, so I'm expecting more of the same from them. A little bit of a skirmish here. Ravi maybe taking damage that he does not need to be taking. Ravi is getting out onto Theta. A little bit of pursuit here from the Viper and the Incubus. Incubus does take a shot for that, but ultimately, well, Ravi did not get out safe. Ravi is gonna die here. That is a legged Arctic Cheetah, and a legged light mech is typically a dead mech. So they do have a cap loot here, critical damage unit, but they are, well, they're down half a mech at the moment. Now, I don't think that critical damage unit can sit and trade. They are currently attempting to do that, but they've only got the 2 ER peeps on each of those executioners. So that is 4 ER PPCs going out, and I'm not seeing the Vulcan. The Vulcan might be pop-tarting with the snub-nosed PPCs at closer range. Probably need to move up a bit closer than that. But against the ER peeps, they have a Direwolf with 8 ER large, which is moving up into a bit of a closer trade position. And then they've got 4 AC5s out of the Night Gear, another 5 AC5s out of the Annihilator, and then 4 Ultra 2s out of the Sun Spider. Sun Spider's open rear side torso quite low. That is concerning, and that is not strike damage because the legs are not damaged. So that is going to be a rear shot that Sun Spider has taken. But the range definitely favors Hunters of the Fjordlands at the moment. So I don't think that this is going to work. A critical damage unit is going to have to make some sort of a move. And the other issue with critical damage unit, besides these 2 Crusaders that are doing absolutely nothing at the moment, is that both of their executioners are on the exact same trade angle. So every time they peek out, there are going to be 4 mechs looking at them. We have a move here, but that move was made in the open. So this Crusader is down to 74%, just trying to close range. It lost half of its weapons when that arm went down. This push is now coming, but it's very telegraphed. This is going to be a hard push to make work. Now these lights are playing with fire. I don't know if they want this. Groggles is getting focused on the leg there. Vulcan is getting out. 62% though, but they're stuck in this trench. The lights are getting low from Hunters of the Fjordlands, and caps are 400 points to 350 points in the favor of critical damage unit right now, but they are down 1 cap point. They need to pull out a light and try to go get another cap. Maybe they can stall out FJRD's lights long enough to get a cap win here or something. Because the fight is not looking good. The Crusader does finally go down. Now this fight is not an even numbers fight. FJRD should not be taking this fight. The Viper is now realizing it and trying to get out. The Viper's legged, or no, Viper's still going. That was something that fell off, but it might have been an arm. And the Firestar's gone down. That was the only light, sorry, there's one medium, 2 lights on this drop. So the Incubus is still up somewhere. Incubus is in the fight 80%, Viper 53% in the fight. I mean, this could potentially slip away. But I think it would have to be on caps. The Annihilator's moved up. They're moving up toward the Brawl team. I'm not sure about this movement from Hunters of the Fjordlands Annihilator. And we do have cap coming out from critical damage unit. They are trying to take Gamma at the moment.
Resource point Gamma.
So 500 cap points to 485. This is close on caps, and whoever has that 3 cap is going to have a reasonable chance of success. The Incubus at 62% still has both its legs, but it is not... If that situation changes, either the Viper or the Incubus, if both of them get legged, cap win becomes a very realistic possibility here from critical damage unit. And they could still win this in the Brawl. I mean, the range has closed and the percentages are not completely unfavorable. Direwolf has moved up, Sunspider's moved up. There's a Vulcan behind them, but I don't know if the Vulcan's taking shots or not. Might just be going for a cap. Yeah, Vulcan is now on Epsilon grabbing a cap behind the Sunspider and the Direwolf, but they are not turning around on that. Our cap situation is 550 to 600. And it is about to become briefly a 4 cap, and now it is only a 3 cap. Both teams are capping. Incubus coming in here for the Vulcan. Now this could be the deciding fight. If either of these go down or become legged, that gives their team a massive advantage in the cap game. Incubus is just farming on the Vulcan. The Vulcan's ignoring them. Executioner gets a big hit on the Incubus. Incubus is halved. That will slow it down, but he still has both his legs, and Dan Prax is now peeled out of the fight and is going for the caps, realizing the situation here. We are less than 100 caps to a win for critical damage unit. But they do need to maintain... Actually, I think they only need 2 caps at this point to win. Somebody good with math quickly run the numbers, but I think that the cap one is at 750, and we are at 683 to 600. I mean, this fight is increasingly no longer mattering. The only fight that matters here is this Incubus on the cap point. And this is, they do need still 2 caps, I believe, from critical damage unit. Somebody needs to get on this Epsilon, and maybe they should make a run as well for another cap. But I think 2 cap does it. It is a 4 cap to 1 cap situation, but it's only 50 caps left to go for critical damage unit to get this win. And what we've got from Hunters of the Fjordland is a Viper, an Annihilator, and a Nightgear. And if that Viper is legged... Oh, the Viper has legs. He should be going for caps. Top Cat needs to be on a cap point right now. Yeah, I mean, Sigma is a long distance, but we are at 720 to 706. They're flipping Theta. That Theta needs to be denied. The deny on Theta is absolutely critical. Does anyone have a sightline? The Direwolf with the ER large, or no, Direwolf is down. Annihilator might be out of AC5 ammo. There's no deny coming on Theta. This is a game. Critical damage unit is pulling off a cap win. Interesting fight there. Okay, the fight was interesting, but it was more that the lights were skirmishing and the caps were ticking. Okay, I've thrown the stats up on screen, but I need to switch some players around in the lobby, so we'll have to wait to discuss them for a little bit. Okay, running through damage numbers here quick. We have a top damage from FJRD, and we have Danprax in the Incubus with 638 damage. That is a lot of damage coming out of that mech. The Direwolf is a little bit lower with 500 from Alphanex. Rastrock with that Night Gear, again putting in a solid 578 damage. A lot of damage coming out of that Night Gear build. I wouldn't consider it to be optimal, but they're definitely making it work, so maybe it's a build that I should be trying out myself. Looking at lower damage numbers across the rest of the team, yeah, but it was ultimately it was a cap win, not a damage win here. So we have CDU with a win, Brenta with Crusader 6T 572, Crescent Reaper with the Executioner. That was a pair of ERP and a bunch of small lasers, small pulses, with a 535. Master Pig with the other Executioner, same build with 500 damage. Quite low damage number from Ravi in the Arctic Cheetah, with getting kind of picked early, and one of the Crusaders, I believe that would have been the Crusader that was pushing out of Michael Hasek with the early push and ended up taking a lot of damage just trying to get into range. But ultimately, they pull off a win here for CDU with a cap win, and they are now 3 matches to 0. So we're going to see whether or not FJRD can pull it back, or what is going to happen in these final 2 drops. The fights have been close. I mean, there were definitely points that last drop on Canyon Network where I was definitely favoring FJRD in their terms of positioning, and then I started to see the caps were running, and you got to pay attention to the caps. Even if the fight is going your way, you have to keep an eye on the caps, because it can just kind of sneak out of control on you when you're not paying attention. It's yeah, those caps, they're sneaky. So the 4th drop here, we're going to Viridian Bog, and the weight classes, again, things have gotten a little bit heavier. There's only 1 light mech on this drop on Viridian Bog, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, and 2 assaults. And with only 1 light mech, you need to keep an even tighter eye on caps for Viridian Bog, although this is not a map where I would be suspecting a cap win. The cap points on here, where they're located and all of that, there's a bit of a, not that much room to maneuver for getting around to the back caps. It's more of a, Viridian Bog's more of an oval or a rectangle, as opposed to Canyon Network's more of a circular map size. So on a circle, if the team's in the center, you can kind of run around on the perimeter a little bit, whereas with a square, or, well, a rectangular shaped map with the caps where they're located, it's a little bit harder to sneak around behind the opposing team to get some of those back caps. This is probably going to be the heaviest drop of the evening. Team 1 has locked in at 435 tons. Now, teams have switched here, so Team 1 is now CDU, Bandits, and Team 2 is now FJRD, was it Berserkers? I believe it is Berserkers. They have 3 teams, and I believe Berserkers is their Division F team. Yes, I have it up on the scoreboard as Berserkers, so presumably I did things correctly. Just waiting for Team 2 to lock in here. So with that 3-0 lead in the match, this match has gone the way of CDU. It's been competitive, and FJRD can still pull out a couple of wins here. They definitely look like they're up to the task, so we'll see if they can pull off 1 or 2 wins in these final 2 drops here. Very doable. I'm not sure how experienced this particular group of FJRD is. On CDU, these are a lot of veteran competitive players at this point, recognizable names. They've been playing together as a group for a while, I do believe, like 2-3 tournaments, I would think. Whereas FJRD is a continually growing unit, and I'm not sure, I don't recognize their names quite as well. Team 2 is locked in. We have 435 tons coming out of CDU to 445 out of FJRD. 10-ton split, not a big difference. Okay, we're going to take a quick look here at the mechs. We have a Kodiak 3 coming out of critical damage unit. That is a 4 Ultra 10. Wow, that is a spicy build. There's Ghost Heat on that. That used to be a build. 4 AC-10. Was that UACs or ACs? One is UACs, one is ACs. Well, I sure hope the UAC guy does not alpha, because the Ghost Heat on that might very well kill him. Rest of the team, we're looking at a Sunspider that's already halfway to the front lines. That is going to be UAC 2. A Locust Pirate's Bane that is already at a cap point. I'm assuming that is the same small laser and heavy machine gun build that was previously run. We have a Crusader looking to do some sneaky things at a Theta cap point here, perhaps, with the Viper. And one mech I did not catch, which is another... No, that is all. Okay, there's a Vulcan somewhere as well. But we have a skirmish here already starting things out at Theta. Crusader 6T going in from Top Cat. Yeah, you know what? They want this fight. They have 4-3. Small pulse lasers going in. I need to get out of these weeds. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better view than, well, I mean, weeds either way. It's Viper, Incubus. First casualty goes down. Critical damage unit got their Viper picked off. They have returned a lot of fire onto the Top Cat's Crusader, but they're continuing to push here. Hunters of Fjordlands picking up a second kill. Crusader does go down and returns, so it's 2 kills to 1. And Scroggles in that Vulcan is getting out. He does not want to take a 2-on-1 fight. So that could be a deterministic fight going forward, just an early battle for Theta. Sunspider here is putting the stop to the push. I don't think that Viper wants to take that fight necessarily. But there's a Crusader coming to back him up. Poor Daddy's bringing in the reinforcements. Now there is Ravi in that Kodiak, just barely revealing himself now. Was this the UAC one? Yes, it is. That is a UAC Kodiak. 2 of those guns are jammed. They are not destroyed. He is running for UAC 10. Ravi stalling the push here. Viper's getting out, taking a little bit of damage. Dan Prax and Incubus also getting out. They have the early lead in kills. They can go get the lead in caps now. They did pick off one of those Vipers that might have been important for capping, because there is only the Locust as the light mech. So just kind of slowing things down. Or... Alright, I never got to look through the entire build. They do have a Stormcrow here coming out of Hunters of Fjordlands. That is a 1v1 build. 11 Micropulse, 3 SRM-6 Artemis. And they've got Executioners here as well. This is a lot of heavy tonnage, and that will be short-range brawly. But there's a pair of Kodiaks. This is a big fight. This is a heavy, close-range, hard-hitting battle here. And Hunters of Fjordlands are not convinced that they want to be taking that fight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're maneuvering. They're not pulling out. They're just re-maneuvering and taking the fight to the opposing side. Sunspider is low here from Fro 420. He goes down. Executioner from Wild J is getting open CT. 65%. Oh, the other Executioner stuck behind, could not move up to tank for him. Crescent Reaper's Kodiak is, what is that, 38%? It's halved. Open CT. Should be going down right shortly here. Can they get a kill first? No. Critical damage unit is now, they're up in caps, but they are down in mechs, and I think that is important here. The caps are 300 to 180. That doesn't look like cap win territory to me. Ravi's going in for try and pick off some mechs. Is that heat damage? I'm not sure. They have to be very careful when firing. They're also getting shot in the back by an Incubus. And there's a Stormcrow looking at them. It's going to be up to the remaining critical damage units to pick up some quick kills here. Or to stall out the fight for a while. But with the numbers the way they are, I think they did need to get some early kills. Kodiak goes down. I'm not even sure where the remaining units are. We have a Locust running away. 39% on a Locust. Stiff Breeze likely will kill Black Tack. But Black Tack is getting away, trying to get the caps going, running. I don't know. I don't recall whether or not that Black Tack had the ECM early. I very much like to, maybe when the Locust stops moving here at the cap, I can pull up that build. There we go. Open side torso, probably an XL engine, and both legs open as well. And open CT. And it's not listing ECM on there, so I'm not sure whether that means that it does not have ECM. I do believe if it had ECM, it would be listed in the spectator here. So that is not going to be as stealthy as it maybe could have been, but that it's a trade-off between trying to keep yourself hidden or having more weaponry. So Hunters of Fjordland not going to lose to caps here. They have split up and taken all the caps. Now it's up to the Locust if they can get a pick somewhere on a mech that has split off for cap. I don't think that going to a cap point that has nobody at it is beneficial. The cap points are not... they need at least 2 caps from critical damage unit to pull off this cap win. And yeah, I don't... maybe even 3. I'm not solid on that math. So the Locust needs to get a pick and a cap, and then another pick and another cap. And that is a very tall task to be asking of a Pirate's Bane with 39% health remaining. And we have a Viper coming in for this fight. 44% Viper. I don't know. Do you want to fight? Is it an ambush? I'm not sure if Black Tack was aware that the Viper was there. All this trees and bugs in the way. Trying to get an angle here for you. Both of them take a low percentage of damage, and the Locust is not disengaging. Locust cannot disengage. It needs to pick off the Viper here. Time is not in their favor. Now it needs to get out before the execution shows up, and it needs to get 2 cap points. This is... oh, man. Black Tack is playing his heart out. Black Tack staying alive, getting the pick, going for another cap, but there aren't any easy fights remaining. The Stormcrow is relatively healthy. Not that Black Tack likely knows this, but it's a 5 cap situation now. This is over. This is over. It's going to be a cap win for Hunters of Fjordlands, even if the Locust manages to go get another 2 caps. At this point, the critical damage unit likely needs 4 caps. The Locust is not fast enough to go and cap 4 caps at this point. I don't think 3 is still good enough. Very, very well done from Black Tack there, getting the pick and keeping alive 31%. That is highly impressive. But ultimately, it's not going to be enough. And yeah, Black Tack knows it. They're no longer trying to cap. They're running out, flashing the lasers, just showing off where they are. They're looking for another fight. They're not running where the opponents are,
The
so
enemy has capped enough resources.
it is a cap win for
We've
Hunters of the
failed.
Fjordland. They do pick up a drop win in this match, and they have the chance to go for one more drop win coming right up. Okay, running through damages quick here for critical damage unit. Lower damage totals overall than some of their previous drops. Ravi with a Kodiak pulling out a 389. Crescent Reaper with the other Kodiak 3 with a 376. Scroggles pulling out 300 damage in that Vulcan. But the fight was decided early at Theta, where it was a 3v2 situation followed by just continual press until 2 mechs went down on the side of critical damage unit to only 1 mech going down on the side of Hunters of the Fjordlands. I need to change up a map here quick. Okay, looking at the damage from Hunters of the Fjordlands, we have Rastrock with the Stormcrow, who was not at that Theta fight, but was fighting against the Kodiaks a little bit later with a 763 damage leading the team. Dan Prax with that Incubus. I think they've played the Incubus on every drop so far, and they're putting out a 567 here. Very respectable. Lower damage numbers across the rest of the board. Top Cat with only 196, but they were the mech tanking in that 3v2 fight, leading the charge that did ultimately end up leading to the win. So Top Cat, lowest damage, perhaps the most important part of that team this last drop. So very well done, getting in there, tanking the damage, putting out some hurt, getting the early kill lead. And Black Tack with the Locust Pyrus Bane, only 276 damage, but playing very well there toward the end. Ultimately, just it was too big of a hill to climb. Again, some more comments on the sound. It is quiet, I'm aware of that. I would have to add a fair bit of gain to try and turn the volume up, and that will eventually cause some distortion. So I can't do a whole lot to make this microphone louder, I don't think. There are some other sound issues as well. I need to work on that. And I have another stream coming up in about 17 hours from now, so maybe I can do a little bit of work to try and improve my mic for that next cast. Not sure how much I'm going to improve it, but I should make that attempt. Yes. So yeah, I'm aware there's sound issues. I need to work on it, and when I'm back in 17 hours, maybe something will have changed. We are on to drop 5 here. Drop 5 is a tonnage limited drop. Both teams have 420 tons to work with, and they can only run 2 of a weight class. There's going to be 1 weight class where they only have a single mech because this is a 7v7, but they have 2 of every other weight class that they are going to be bringing. It'll be interesting to see if teams cut a light or cut an assault, or what weight class they decide not to bring. And we might also see mech selection change a little bit now that is tonnage limited. Like the Kodiak, before it was just taking up an assault slot, now it is taking up a 100 tons of your 420 tons available. So I think that mechs like the Kodiak, Direwolf, the Executioner at 95 tons as well, those are probably going to be a little less popular. We might start to see more mechs at the bottom end of the tonnage. Although we've seen a lot of Crusaders and Vipers tonight, so and those are mechs that are at the bottom of their weight class. So they're selecting the Viper over at 40 tons over something 55-ton mech like the Stormcrow or the Vapor Eagle. So it's not all about tonnage for effectiveness or for the role that they're trying to use. And so but I think that there might be some changes as to the mech selection here now that it is tonnage limited. Team 1 has locked in at that 420 tons as expected, just waiting up for FJRD to confirm that they are locked. And Team 2 is locked. So we're launching into our match, and we are Mining Collective now. So we're playing the Mining Collective map as the fifth match, or fifth drop of the match. So this is the fifth drop, and Critical Damage Unit has already won. They have 3 wins in their first 3 drops before Hunters of the Fjord Lands pulled it back with a win in the 4th. So this match result is decided, but teams are still playing, trying to pull off a win and bring it back a little bit closer here. 8 small pulse fire starter times 1 times, times 2, coming out of Hunters of the Fjord Lands, and then they're backing up with a Stormcrow again. Same build, SRMs and Micropulse. So that is definitely Brawl out of the first 3 mechs we've seen. Executioner, LPL with small pulse laser. Yes, that is going to be Brawl as well. Does have a little bit of a mid-range type build as well, but it is mostly Brawl, and I'm expecting 14 small pulse on the Crusader. Yes, and is that all the mechs, or did I miss one? I did miss one. What did I miss? They have a Viper somewhere, but I did not see it. A little bit of early damage coming out here. Team is a little bit split up. What do we have? Critical Damage Unit. They're bringing SRM bombers on the Huntsman. Executioner Prime is also Brawl. We have another Huntsman, also Brawl. Arctic Cheetah, Brawl. Summoner, SRM Summoner. That is, yes, very nice spicy build there. Big alpha. And more Brawl out of the Executioner. And what was the last mech? We have Arctic Cheetah E. Machine guns, and more machine guns presumably on the other Arctic Cheetah. Now this Executioner is completely isolated. I don't know what is going on here. We have just a chaotic fight, and both teams just right in there right now, and they're not all grouped up together. This is going to come down to focus fire probably. Both teams running Brawl. First 2 mechs down on Critical Damage Unit is down 3 mechs already. Hunters of Fjordland only has 1 mech down on their side. Summoners being focused, 60% there on Noble 341 Summoner. Huntsman looks like it's lagged out of down already. Okay. 2 mechs remaining for Critical Damage Unit, and it's an Executioner in the middle of the Brawl and an Arctic Cheetah in a secondary fight. Master Pig is legged. He is about to go down. And that just leaves 1 mech remaining for a Critical Damage Unit, and it is a legged Arctic Cheetah facing off against an entire avalanche here of light and medium and fast heavies coming in to finish him off.
The enemy
That was very fast.
We've failed.
I mean, this drop was done in less than 3 minutes from the time that the match started until the last mech was dead. So very decisive win there on the side of Hunters of the Fjordlands. Okay, running through the damage totals very fast here. For critical damage unit, we have the Summoner and the Huntsman, both with 3, and the Executioner, all with 370 damage. Lower numbers from the rest of the team. Just mechs were dropping very fast in that fight. And out of FJRD, we have the highest damage total coming out of that Stormcrow. That is a 1v1 build in my mind. So very much front-loaded damage, early fast burst, and then a fair amount of DPS. 532 for Rastarok in that Stormcrow. Danprak's Crusader is coming up with 500 damage. Very nice total there as well. A little bit lower from the rest of the team. Basically, it was a race of who could deal the most damage the fastest. Very quick, fast drop there. Yeah, under 3 minutes from start to finish. Just pure brawl, both teams. And with that drop, the Hunters of the Fjordlands Berserkers pulls back the match to a 3-2 win for critical damage unit, with just kind of started the reverse sweep, one drop too late. The first 3 went in the favor of critical damage unit, the last 2 went in the favor of Hunters of the Fjordlands. Very close match overall though, well done from both teams, very entertaining. It wasn't all brawl, but we did get to see some brawl, and that last one, very spicy. And that is it for me on the stream here. I think, oh, do I need to update the scoreboard quick here? Nope, I've already got that done. Alright, so thank you everyone for coming out, watching these teams play a match here. I was Therax. I'm going to be coming back with another match on the same channel in just under 17 hours, let's say 16 and a half hours to the next match start. So if you're entertained in this, give the channel a follow, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. Thanks for watching.